Hey, what's up, everybody? Jerry Niesman of the Niesman team at Keller Williams Realty here. And we're here for another episode of Talk About It Tuesday. Tuesday at 4 o'clock every week. We get on here and do a Facebook Live talking about real estate. Some form or another. So we are here to talk about it. Well, I'm here to talk about it. Rachel's finishing up a phone call. So she will be here in just a minute. But yeah, just wanted to introduce myself and make sure that we're on time here. Thanks for joining. And today we are talking about... Oh, here she comes. There she is.
There is a we. I'm sorry, I was on the phone with one of my favorite people on earth. So, yes, we are talking about it on Talk About It Tuesday. We are starting a little mini series. We're gonna do, I think, hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, geared towards people interested in selling their house, or we're talking about selling your home. And so today's going to be the first of 5 weeks in a row, 5 Tuesdays in a row. I have a list. I'm going to announce it at the end of the ones that we're doing in subsequent weeks. But this week, our first week, talking to sellers or talking about selling a house. Seller's market versus buyer's market. We're going to talk about what those even mean, because you have me, of course. For those who don't know, how much did you say? How much did you introduce?
Not much.
Okay. Jerry and Rachel Niesman. I do all the talking, and I know nothing. Like, I do all of the talking, and I know very little of the actual things. And so I am Rachel Niesman. This is my husband, Jerry Niesman.
I said
that. You said, like, this is my wife, Rachel Niesman.
No, I said
the air beside. So we are the Niesman team at Keller Williams Realty in Fort Myers, Florida. And we are obviously a husband and wife team, licensed realtor, 10 years, over 500 families helped. And I am his unlicensed assistant, very official on the MLS and everything as an unlicensed assistant. I am in charge of baking pies and writing thank you cards and asking questions like, what does this terminology even mean? And so I handle all of the administrative stuff, and he handles all of the actual real estate transactions and answering all those things. So you are educating me along with all of our Facebook friends as we talk about it on Tuesdays. And so we get together. We like kind of hang our hats on being real talk people. So I'm going to be reading our questions. If you guys have questions about what we're discussing about selling your house, seller's market versus buyer's market, where are we right now? What do those terms even mean? How do you figure it out? Type the questions. I'm going to be your voice. I'm going to be reading your comments and responding to you guys live. And Jerry's going to be giving you like all the real information about real estate. And so I wrote down here as the initial topic. And so Jerry, how's the market? Tell me why that's funny.
The question everybody asks when they find out that I'm in real estate.
It's the small talk of the real estate world, right? It is when people, and that's a great question. That's just the go-to automatic question that people have about real estate in general. They find out that we're professional realtors, and they say, so tell me, how's the market right now? And usually they're looking for an answer that is about the topic that we're discussing today, right? And that is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? What does that even mean? So tell me, when you say those things, give me like an overall definition. What is a seller's market and what is a buyer's market? What does that mean? And how do you know? But that's question 3. So okay. Question 1, what's a seller's market?
So
start there.
No, question 1 is how's the market? That's
question 1, how's the market?
And I can tell you that my answer pretty much always is going to be great. Because it is for someone. It may not be great for you.
Okay.
It depends on what you're looking to do.
Okay.
So it could be great. So if this goes into question number 2, the difference between a seller's market and a buyer's market.
Okay.
If it's a seller's market, that means it is great for sellers. If you're trying to sell your house, it's a great time to be selling it in a seller's market.
See, I didn't know that. I never, so once upon a time, I knew that now. I would say in the last few years, I've picked up a few things over the last decade, hanging out with you, listening to you sell houses. But once upon a time, I would get confused as to what a seller or buyer's market is. I didn't know if it's a seller's market. I don't know. It was confusing. I couldn't tell either way, but seller's market mean you're in a good position as a seller.
It basically, what it means
because there's no hurricane and it's not taking. So
has
tell
nothing
me.
to do with the weather.
Right.
There can be buyers and sellers markets in Alaska.
Okay, perfect.
Where they don't have hurricanes.
What does it mean? Well, how do you figure it out?
So a seller's market is when basically in a transaction, a real estate transaction, you have two parties. You have a buyer and a seller.
Right.
Pretty much any transaction.
Somebody owns real estate, somebody wants to buy the real estate, and you're meeting them up together.
So the question is, who has the upper position in the negotiation of it all? I guess you could say, who has the leverage?
Okay.
And different markets, different people have the leverage.
Okay.
So in a seller's market, it means typically that there's low inventory.
Inventory meaning the amount of
homes available for sale. The amount of real estate
that's available for sale.
Correct.
And when we say inventory, I think that our MLS. So I run the reports to answer how's the market month after month. Part of my job as the unlicensed assistant is to provide you with statistics regarding our MLS. How many houses are coming on the market or leaving the market sold or leaving the market unsold.
Correct.
And it divvies it up by single family homes and then
condos and
townhouses. So in terms of inventory, and that goes back to how you answered the first question, which is how's the market? And the answer is it's great for somebody, but not for others. You have to kind of...
Well, and it can be great for everybody. I mean, right now it's pretty good for everybody here. In that...
For all the sellers?
For sellers and buyers.
Sellers and buyers. Okay, interesting.
So you have, especially on single family homes right now, you have low inventory.
Okay, which means that there aren't enough people with their houses on the market.
Correct. It means there's more buyers than sellers.
Okay.
So you have a balanced market. They estimate the inventory, and basically when we say inventory, what we're talking about is the number of homes that are on the market available for sale right now.
Okay.
And they talk about it in months supply, meaning if they say there's a 3-month supply, that means that if there's no other homes listed for sale,
oh, I see, you'll sell out.
And the number of buyers stays the same as what we have out there, or the number of people buying homes stays the same for the next 3 months, we would have 0 homes left for sale. Now, obviously, that's never going to happen. You're never going to have a situation where, you're never going to have a situation where there's nobody listing a home for sale.
But so you said in a balanced market,
it's between 5.5 and 6 months worth of supply.
About 5-6 months worth of, if nothing else went on the market, we would run out of homes to sell to our buyers in 5.5-6 months.
Correct.
Right now, according to our board,
according to the MLS,
according to our MLS,
for single family homes, we're at a 3.5 month supply in the Royal Palm Coast Association, which is basically Lee, Collier, and Hendry counties.
So we're even though you say it's good for buyers and sellers right now, it is a seller's market.
It is a seller's market in terms of pricing and in terms of inventory. But when I say it's good for buyers, interest rates are crazy low.
Oh.
So even though prices are up, and inventory is harder to, you got to be more aggressive in your offer.
Right.
Meaning you've got to be closer to or at full price not asking for a bunch of concessions, um, or even sometimes multiple offers where you've got to offer above asking price.
Right,
now.
and
And
you
it
just
depends.
used an interesting word, aggressive. It's not just aggressive in negotiations when you're in a seller's market, right? It's also aggressive in terms of time in which you're looking at homes.
When you see a house go on the market, you need to get there and see it right away.
Yep.
And you need to be ready and willing to put an offer in, which means you need, if you're financing, you got to have pre-approval. You need proof of funds, because all that stuff the seller wants to see.
Yeah, in a seller's market that we're seeing right now, I hear Jerry telling our buyers consistently, not just in a seller's market, but in a seller's market with the first, like in our generations, like, hey, there's an international emergency, there's a pandemic going on, and we are trying to keep everybody safe and healthy, both sellers and buyers. It's more important than ever to get all of your ducks in a row in terms of mortgage and making sure your finances are set, because if you, a house could go on the market right now, there could be 3 offers in on it by tomorrow at 10 a.m. where they're going through a multiple offer situation. And if you haven't talked to a mortgage person yet, like there goes any negotiation tool that you have.
Not even negotiation. They won't even look at your offer.
Yeah. So
and you got no shot at getting the house.
So, what else about a seller's market? I know that Agni said here that people leaving major cities will impact this too, where as people
that is what is
that shuffle.
Part of what is causing the seller's market is that, and in talking numbers, like I said, 3.5 months supply on single family. Condos and townhouses, though, there's a 5-month supply.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's slightly a seller's market on condos and townhouses, but it's much more balanced than on single family.
Interesting.
Most likely because you have a lot of people coming from larger cities, from up north where they've been locked down much tighter than Florida has been. So they're coming to Florida, number one.
Okay.
But number two, also they're looking at single family homes where they have a little bit more space to roam.
Right.
So those are a little more popular right now.
Interesting. Yeah. What else about a seller's market that people should know? So is there you've told me the math, or how do they come to that conclusion of 3.5 months? Is there math factored into that of?
Yeah, it's how many sales closed. So what we're looking at right now is the June numbers. So this is the beginning or middle of August at this point. The numbers come out, the official numbers. We can pull reports whenever we want, but the official numbers for June come out on July 22nd, I think it is.
August 22nd, yes. So it'll come out on the 22nd of each month. And just so everybody knows, if you want access to that, Jerry and I email all of the people who are working with the Niesman team. We send you those reports at the beginning of each month. If you're not getting those, check your spam. If you're set up with us, if you want to get set up with us, send Jerry an email, jerryniesman@gmail.com, and I will get you on that list. I send you the actual snapshot of our real estate board. What counties are they again? Lee County?
Lee, Collier, and Hendry.
And so we'll send those to you.
I actually pulled the numbers for
cool.
Stellar, which is all of
awesome.
Charlotte County all the way up to Tampa and over across to Orlando. So it's the largest board in all of Florida.
We typically we feel really comfortable Sarasota down to Marco and then in towards the beach. And so that's really our neck of the woods. We can cover any of that, but we need 2 MLSs to run those. And so we have to look at numbers. I typically send out our county, Lee County, where our team's set up at. And so you were telling me the numbers. How do you do the math to figure out whether it's a seller's market or buyer's market?
So it's the number of closed transactions for the month.
For the month.
So it would be June 1 through, 30 days in June?
There is.
So it'd be June 1 through June 30. How many closed? And then take the number of homes active on the market and divide it by the closed sales. Okay. And that's how you get how many months supply.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's pretty easy to do. Now I feel like a real estate expert. I feel like I can get those two statistics and people can ask me, Rachel, how's the market? And instead of saying, go ask you, what's the answer? What do I always tell people?
Wrong Niesman.
Wrong Niesman. You got the wrong Niesman. And so I feel like I can actually have an opinion now of it's a seller's market. We currently have a 3.5
And you don't have to do the math. You don't have to do the math. The board does it for us.
Yeah, it's on the report that I sent out. I can
just look at
actually
the
read
report
it
and
instead of just send it to people.
It says how many months there are.
Awesome. So tell me about the other side of it.
So the other side
Tell
would
me
be a
about
buyer's market. And basically, that's when there is more than a 6-month supply of homes.
Okay.
So
a lot of houses
plus,
sitting on the market.
More houses.
Not as many buyers shopping.
Typically gives the buyers a little bit more leverage in negotiating power.
Would tell me if there's always a correlation between whether it's a buyer or seller's market and how many days on market is average.
So typically, yes.
If it's a buyer's market, is there typically higher days on market?
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense to me now that I'm piecing it together. So a buyer's market means you're in a good position as a buyer. There's a lot of homes to choose from. Not as many people are looking at houses. So you have houses sitting on the market longer with less offers coming to the table. So you may be able to say, like, I'm going to offer. Tell me what is traditional that you see in negotiating percentages off of a listing price of a home. What's average here in town?
Right now?
Yeah.
Slim to none.
Okay. So pre-COVID, like a year ago, I feel like it was in...
A year ago, again, it depends on what you're looking for.
Me too, Agni. I feel like such a grown-up now. Yes, hashtag adulting indeed. Ask me. Now everybody's going to come to me and be like, Rachel, how's the market? And I'm going to be like, I didn't read that report this month, but go ahead.
So it's going to depend a lot on what you're looking for, where you're looking for, because real estate is what we call hyper-local, meaning it is very, very specific, down to literally sometimes it can be 1 to 2 blocks.
I mean, is it like North Fort Myers real estate market is different than Fort Myers real estate market?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Wow, it is?
This neighborhood in North Fort Myers is different from...
Like Cape Coral, North Fort Myers, like down...
where they from that area, from...
Crazy. Babcock?
Crazy. From even like Daughtry's Creek right down the road.
Wow.
Like all of the neighborhoods could be different.
Yeah.
So it's very, very specific. But as a whole, a year ago, we were talking, you were typically seeing between 5 and 6% off of list price.
I think
if the home was priced properly, you could expect on a $200,000 home, you might be able to negotiate somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000 off.
And I feel like we were going in at like, and maybe correct me, this is the one thing I'm not supposed to be talking about. You would go in at around 7 to 10% on a first offer. 7 to 10%.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends on the home and the neighborhood and how many there are and stuff like that. But
yeah, somewhere. But like I said, typically you're ending up in the 4 to 6% a year ago. Now you're honestly you're lucky if you're getting 1.
What about 2008? Never mind. I'm sorry if you have PTSD from 2008 real estate market. I'm sorry if I brought up. You're like, no, I'm gonna hide under my bed. I don't want to talk about 2008, 2010 real estate.
You mean like the guy that we rented from for 2.5 years and we paid for his entire, like we paid him in rent what he paid for the entire house to buy it?
Yep. So, all right. So tell me more about a buyer's market. I cut you off 1,000 times.
Cheap too.
I know. Can you imagine?
All right. So buyer's market basically means that the buyers have
good position for the buyers.
The more negotiating power. So
what's the most that you've ever seen? How many months of inventory? So we're talking 2010 to 2020.
I don't even know because when I started I was working
Right.
for a builder, so I didn't pay attention to month supply.
Yes.
I was focused on how much inventory do I have in this community, because
Sure.
that's all I could sell.
That's true. Yes.
So I don't really know what the numbers were back in 2010.
Okay.
In terms of,
Have you ever seen like a year supply, like 12 months? Have you ever gone that heavy
yes,
into a buyer's market?
in specific communities, sure.
Okay.
I mean, there are like specific condo communities I've seen that way.
Okay.
You know, I was just looking, for example, at Oasis. We were talking about, we had that guy that we went and talked to like 2 years ago
Right.
about listing his condo.
Did you talk to him?
No.
Oh,
Oh yeah, he texted me back.
Cool.
But
Sold
anyways,
it?
no,
No.
and he's not looking to sell it.
Cool.
He thinks the market's going to keep going up.
Oh.
Which
it has been.
It has been. There's no reason to think it's not. I mean, there's nothing indicating it's going down anytime soon.
But let me say, I feel like we've said in another Talk About It Tuesday, which is in another tip for selling. Well, it's not just that, but tips. When is the perfect time to sell your house? When you need to sell it.
Sure.
Like if you need it, if you have to sell your home because you need to move in with grandma in a different state, then now's the perfect time to put your house on the market.
And it's no different than the stock market.
Right.
You know, if you invest in the stock market, if you're one of the people that's trying to time it to get to the very best tip-top price you can get, you're going to lose.
Yeah. Yep. And there's no crystal ball.
The people that time it perfectly got lucky.
Yeah. Or had inside information.
It wasn't.
Well, we're not going to talk.
It wasn't because they were shooting for it, you know, because they hit their target. They got lucky.
Let me ask you a question. How does this buyer or seller's market affect the general population or the value of your home? If you're not currently on the market to buy or sell a house, does it matter whether we're sitting in a seller's market or buyer's market? No impact, right?
No, because it's the value of your home is completely, other than for peace of mind, because people want to know.
Sure.
But other than that, the value of your home doesn't matter unless you're buying or selling. If you're trying to buy or sell a house, like, what does it matter right now? For us,
if you want to refinance and take like money, get cash
but
back
that's
to work on
like
your house.
that, you're talking specifically.
I feel like there are reasons why you would want to know if it's a buyer or seller's market.
No, you don't care if it's buyer or seller's market. You just care about the value of your house.
But isn't the value of your house up if you're in a seller's market? Like
maybe, not necessarily.
Here's a question: would an appraiser appraise a house differently today based on the fact that there's low inventory? Or they don't care, they only care about past sales and how much those homes are worth. And I know you're not an appraiser, that's not our job, so.
They typically do take that into consideration a little bit, in that what they tend to do in very heavy sellers markets is they will take into consideration. So in a typical balanced or a buyer's market, they're looking pretty much strictly at past sales, what has closed recently. In a very strong seller's market, what they will tend to do is take into consideration pending sales.
Okay.
Because those are actually the homes that have gone under contract the most recently. So those are the most relevant. The problem is they don't know what they've closed at. So they have to call, but a lot of times they can call the listing agent of those properties and get that information.
Do they always? I feel like they don't always.
They don't always, but sometimes they will.
Sure. So the other than that though, if you're not currently on the market, whether you're sitting at a buyer or a seller's market, shouldn't impact you.
Yeah, I mean, does it matter to us right now? Like, if our house was worth $200,000 right now, or if it's worth $800,000, does it really matter?
I mean, I feel like
because we're living here, we're not planning on going anywhere. Does it matter?
I feel like if my house was worth $800,000 right now, I might consider putting it on the market. No, I'm serious. I feel like
it's not, but
darn it. Yeah. I had plans for that money. In that tiny little split second, I had dreams. I'm like, trips to Europe and fancy shoes and Listen, we could sell our house for $800,000 right now. I might be buying a
If
teacher
somebody
for my kids.
wants to
like,
buy my
hey,
house for $800,000 right now, I will move tomorrow.
Yeah, done. Okay, cool. So we already talked now a little bit about where we are currently. We're currently obviously in a seller's market. We're at 3.5 months worth of inventory. How should people watching figure out, should they be doing the math? How do you just contact people, contact an expert, just call a realtor, call Jerry, or call me if you know me, and I'll put you in touch with Jerry. Don't do the work. This is what we do all day, every day. I feel like we have a couple of people who we've worked with over the past 10 years that regularly call Jerry up and be like, yo, run my address. How much is it worth right now? And we're perfectly fine doing that. They don't intend to sell it right away. They just want to know how much their house is worth.
By the way, as I'm glancing at my computer screen over here off to the side, in the Stellar Board of Realtors, so Charlotte County up to Tampa, across to Orlando.
Yes.
2.5 month worth supply.
Oh my gosh.
So that's a more competitive. I mean, that's a stronger seller's market. Than
if you're people, we have a lot of people in Northport, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Sarasota, Venice. Bradenton. Please call us. We'll help you. If you're interested in maxing out how much your house is worth right now, now is the time to do it. There are people out there shopping. We have a plan in place. We talked about it a little in our Talk About It Tuesday video a couple weeks ago about how we're keeping our sellers safe. So that's really what's creating it, right? I feel like that's prices
are up 3%.
Wow.
May to June, and 13% from year over year. June of 19 to June of 20, the average sale price is up 13%.
Yeah, well, by the way, it's probably, are you sure our house isn't where that's not 13%.
No, it's not.
We can keep your house safe, your house and your family safe while people shop for it. And give us a call at 239-20-19583, or you can send us a messenger message, or you can, email us or whatever here. Let us know what questions you have. Hey, hello. Here's a good question. Can you tell me what is the difference between a short sale and just a regular house that's for sale on the market? And do short sales factor into that inventory cost?
Yeah, short sales factor in. So short sales are they're few and far between right now. But basically what a short sale is the owner is trying to sell the house for less than what they owe on it. It's not very common anymore because most people now the home values have gone up enough that they don't owe more on it. Even it was something like 60% of Florida back in 2010, 2011. People were upside down in their homes, meaning they owed more than what the home was worth.
Sure.
Now it's significant. I mean, you're I think in single digit numbers of people that are that owe more than what their home's worth, and probably in the last 12 months that's probably dropped to almost zero.
Okay. But in a short sale, you're negotiating with the bank, not the owner of the home, right?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
A short sale is basically you're negotiating with the homeowner initially because you're making an offer, but really the owner shouldn't really care what number it is, because no matter what it is, it's probably less than what they owe.
Okay.
Now occasionally they're borderline, where if they have to take an offer, let's say they owe $215 and the house could maybe be worth $220.
Okay.
But you offer $210. Well, at $210 it's a short sale. At $216 it's not.
Oh, okay.
So there's that kind of funky situation when you're right on the border. But most of the time, a short sale, the owner doesn't really care what number it is. It's going to depend on what the bank's willing to take.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to negotiate with the bank. They typically take longer than a regular sale, so you got to be prepared to wait. And banks, they know what the property's worth.
Sure.
So it's not very common anymore for you to see, especially in a strong seller's market, for you to see short sales going significantly below unless the house is in really rough shape.
Right.
They're going to call and get an appraisal.
Right.
That's how most lenders handle those now, is that they call, they have an appraisal done, and then they go based on what the appraised number is.
Right.
How
are those different from foreclosures?
So a foreclosure, the bank already owns the property.
There's the owner's not involved at all.
Yeah, the owner's not involved anymore.
Okay, cool.
And there's no loan to deal with.
Okay.
So like
the bank owns the home and
Yep.
you're just trying to sell it.
Yep.
Same process though. You're negotiating with a bank. Takes a little bit of longer time.
Yep. Takes longer to get responses back a lot of times. And
have you heard or seen anything about the potential for more short sales or foreclosures coming with the fact that so many people are out of work?
There are people talking about it. It's really going to depend on how everything plays out. I mean, right now there's still in the state of Florida, there's still a what's the word I'm thinking of? A moratorium on.
I don't even, wait a second.
They do not allow for people on primary residences.
Okay.
They're not allowed to foreclose on a property right now.
Okay.
On government-backed loans.
Okay.
So it's specifically
is that
FHA, VA, Fannie, yeah, even conventional like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. If Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac owns the loan, which those are still government supervised entities, it's about 70% of the mortgages out there. The banks are not allowed to foreclose.
Okay.
And they're required to offer a multitude of forbearance options or of options to deal with that situation.
Sure.
So, payment plans, delayed, whatever, tacking onto the end of the loan. There's all kinds of different options.
Hopefully we're coming out of this situation.
So and they've been extending it. I mean, it was like they issued the moratorium in March, and it was for 3 months. So March, April, May. So at the end of May, they extended it to June. At the end of June, they extended it to July. At the end of July, they extended it through the end of August. And who knows if they're going to extend it further or not. But basically, it depends on, a lot of the people who lost their jobs back in March have jobs back.
Sure.
Whether it's the same income or not, I don't know.
Same job or not, don't know.
I mean, we're back under, I think the unemployment number was under 1 million people already. So they were expecting a significantly higher and longer term for unemployment. It's come back.
I haven't seen or heard of much of a rise in short sales foreclosures or anything
and there's
like
not.
that.
I mean, so far because at least because of the moratorium.
Right.
So once that's released and they start processing them again, we may see an uptick in it. Is it going to be substantial? It's hard to say. I mean, we thought that there was going to be a massive issue with delinquent tenants on rent, and most of the investors that I've talked to that have rental properties haven't seen that. Mm-hmm. Their delinquency rate's been 10% or less, which is pretty darn close to what it always is.
Okay.
So, so the likelihood of there being major issues doesn't seem super high, but you never know.
Okay.
We won't know till we get there. My crystal ball's broken.
Man, that's a bummer. When will my house be worth $800,000?
Right.
Never. Mine's fixed. I only have one question left before we're going to go into the details on how to get in touch with us. And we are going to, I'm going to tell you all about the rest of our series on sellers or for sellers, people who are thinking about selling their home over the next 4 weeks. This is week 1 of 5. And my final question on this topic is, why do you think that I put my name tag on the left of my body and you put it on the right of your body when you wake up every day, do you think it has to do with men and women's buttons being in a different direction? Like, do you think that has an impact? What's your
I have no idea.
official opinion?
Never,
like,
ever thought of it.
But what would make you and me?
I mean,
we're both right-handed.
I don't know why they put buttons on different sides.
We're both.
What's the purpose of that?
Right-handed. We both.
Why do we wear our belts opposite
it seems crazy to me that you would get up and put it on the right of your shirt. But I wonder.
Don't men and women's belts go opposite directions too?
I don't know. Don't you just flip them upside down? Our belts is the same upside down, kid.
I mean, you can. You can, but I'm saying, like, I always thought men naturally put their belts on to the left side and women put it to the right. I don't know.
Let me tell you what we're talking about. Let me give people contact information. So you can contact Jerry Niesman, Niesman @gmail.com. You can check out our YouTube page. I think we've changed
What's that got to do with real estate?
Jerry, I'm just curious. Agni, if you can link me.
Can y'all go and like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, please? We need like 100 subscribers to be able. I think it's 100 that we have to get to be able to start customizing our page.
So I think we finally changed it. See if you go to YouTube right now on your computer.
Like you can.
No, listen, this is important.
You might have changed the name, but I'm saying
if you go to YouTube,
we can do a lot more stuff.
in the Niesman team? I think we switched it to the Niesman team.
Did you?
Yeah, I think so. It was on my list of things to do, and I think I figured out a way to do it.
You think you did it?
So it's either Jerry Niesman or the Niesman team.
Let me see.
One of those. Okay, I'll post the YouTube link in this video. And so we got videos on there, and we have a lot of fun. And you can follow us there. You can send us a messenger message here. You can call or.
Why is my computer so slow? It is the Niesman team.
The Niesman team, 3 words, the Niesman, Niesman team on YouTube, and I'll link it here in the comments. 239-201-9583 is Jerry's number. I'll put it in here because I still talk like I'm from a big city, even though I live in the rural North Fort Myers. Call, text him if you have questions. If you want to be one of those people that gets that monthly market report, you can email me, Rachel Niesman, or Niesman, RNIESMAN @hotmail.com.
Or just
and I'll put you on the list. Or comment on here if you want to see what that looks like every single month. I send the synopsis. Like, I give Jerry like a 72-page report every month to review, but I send our people like a really pretty colored like chart and stuff like that. Easy to like go through over coffee one morning. How else? Here on Facebook, add us at our business page. Let us know if you have any questions or if you want to know what the value of your home is right now, where it sits on a seller's market. We are discussing over 5 weeks. So week 1 was we talked today about sellers versus seller's market versus a buyer's market. When people ask, how's the market? What does that really mean? And what the market's like right now here in Southwest Florida. Next week, we are doing 8 important questions to ask a potential listing agent. If you are thinking about interviewing people to be your realtor to sell your home, we think that there's 8 questions that you should be asking them in that interview, and we think you should interview multiple people. And we love you all, and if you want us to help you sell your house, we are happy to do that and interview with you. And we will give you the questions to ask us and other people to find the right fit, because not everybody loves working with us. Most people love working with us. Not everybody loves working with us. But we're going to help give you tips, 8 important questions to ask your potential listing agent. The following week, we're going to do how much is my house worth? And then the next week of follow-up, it's like 2-part. First of all, we're going to tell you how we kind of calculate how much your house is worth. And then the second part is going to be, how do I make my house worth more money? So if you're thinking about putting it on the market, how can you increase the value of your home inexpensively or quickly or in a big talk way? So we'll talk about, does it make sense to do kitchens versus bathrooms? Does it make sense to pull carpet and put in tile? We'll answer all those questions. And then the last one in this series is going to be the 5 biggest mistakes made by homeowners wanting to sell. So what can you do as the homeowner that we have no control over as the realtor? What are the 5 biggest mistakes that we see of people who are going to be putting their house on the market? Agni, I can't wait to see you there. We hope you guys enjoy these. We really enjoy getting together on Friday, or we enjoy getting together on Fridays too, because we like each other. On Tuesdays to talk about it.
This is Tuesday.
It feels like Friday.
Does
It's
it?
not very far away from being Friday.
It is.
Dream of Fridays and $800,000 houses. Thank you guys for joining us. We have such a blast sitting here and talking to you guys. Thanks for joining. I'm going to link our YouTube channel and then look for our posts for our events for next time. Join us every Thursday. Jerry's going to be out at 4 p.m. touring home still. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we've had to revert back to dedicated to meeting face-to-face with clients because that's where we're at in our business, in our world. We're not, most people aren't quarantining or staying at home now. And so we can't take you to work then, but please talk about it Tuesdays live, 4 p.m. here. And then Facebook Live on Jerry's page as well on Thursdays for Niesman Team Home Tours. And you can come, because we're only doing it one day a week, we're going to try and get really cool, clever, beautiful, or quirky or different houses instead of just like cookie cutter houses. We're also going to be giving away some Starbucks gift cards when we do it every single week. So join us live Thursday at 4. Join us here next Tuesday for Talk About It Tuesday. Next week, 8 important questions to ask a potential listing agent. What else you got?
That's it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know what other questions you have. We continue to read this and comment. So let us know if you have any other questions. Bye, guys. Thank you. And live video.